Alright, got another poem. As you can tell by the title, this is actually using Weird Al Yankovic, and I was inspired from their most recent movie that was actually pretty hilarious. Um, to give another shot to actually use more of his songs, as I tried using one of his song titles, ages ago, but it wasn't very long, and I'm thinking, well, if I gotta revisit someone, you gotta have someone who's brought a lot of joy to a lot of people. But I this will be a little bit on the darker side because it kind of puts a little more commentary about humanity as a whole. So take everything with a grain of salt. But then, if you have to have a valid excuse for everything, today is Festivus. So yeah, there is something to say about the human race and how we go off the deep end just to feel excited in a world that changes too quickly. But we can only dare to be stupid for so long until we endure the consequences that come our way, proving that our glory road was the nature trail to hell, created from our disregard of rules because we think we have to follow anything we don't understand. If you want anything in life, you have to work hard because you can't earn money for nothing, and the idea of everything already owed to you is bad. Plus, you can't hit it rich like the Beverly Hillbillies or some other random soul because you'll be trapped in the drive through or another dismal job until fate presents you with a brighter path to prosperity in this dog eat dog world where too many people are cursed with being trigger happy and they don't care who gets hit in the process, leaving reality bleak. One reason why our world isn't great is because of politicians who don't care about the good old days, where people enjoyed being with others instead of turning into couch potatoes that hide behind all the silver screens that are everywhere, displaying such a groovy guy who has all the answers to men's society, but only broken promises, said that we're good enough for now to remove some of the despair to provide the calm before the storm in which things get even worse from poisonous apathy and avarice. Not caring about your fellow man is dangerous, like reintroducing horrible germs into a society ruled by people who think prayer and grapefruit diets are better than any modern medicine. Said, and the desire of these people who tell you everything you know is wrong, and they have all the answers, can sour the sweetest of days, creating a traffic jam from everyone trying to escape the growing madness. I think the problem with spreading despair is that cable TV has evolved to be filled with hundreds of strange channels beyond what the old UHF stations could even dream of. And people can watch their shows on so many devices that it's impossible to avoid the trash news from places like TMZ. But modern watchers aren't interested in facts, just all the stupid trash that would make Jerry Springer cringe. Nowadays, the only things that make the headline news are tragedies and absurd acts made by idiots trying to find some more excitement. So it's easy for me to say, I can't watch this, and wonder about what the rest of the world is like, and if I can see it with my own eyes in some other manner than my dreams, because getting one more minute in a strange place is too much of a luxury before the alarm goes off and I'm brought back to the real world and the generic blues set in to keep things lackluster. We've all had one of those days where we didn't feel like doing much of anything when we had all the time in the world, but we were calling in sick on our days off because we endured so many grim days that we didn't want to let the joy in because such moments were close but no cigar in keeping a smile on our faces, as whatever you like has lost its potency and it's hard to find something new. Life is a complicated song to sing in a world full of tone deaf souls all wanting to be heard, and sadly, relief doesn't come in your horoscope for today like many days of the past where you likely felt trapped in a raging twister, getting spun around while trying to do normal things like cleaning your home, while trying to get ready for trash day as you sort the still usable items. So before you even have any time to deal with your bad hair day, before you rush off to whatever job provides a little hope. I am worried about the world, and in this season because we could be having Christmas at ground zero from allowing the chaos of politics to devolve into the nightmares of Jurassic Park, with eager people proving they were young, dumb, and ugly inside and out, with all the care of some pathetic child who, being unwatched, learns of the dangers of running with scissors. But more people will be hurt if those in power can't learn to let go, as the once faithful pronounce, "I'm so sick of you not caring about life." Humans seem to be born with a strange and unsatiable debt, like alimony payments to some spouse unwilling to acquire their own wealth, content on getting very fat on some other meal ticket, such as the suffering of others that makes them quickly feel like they're getting a cavity search for a few more cents, and even though the check's in the mail and nothing can make it be delivered any faster. Yet the desperate are plagued with spam calls about owing money to people who have already taken so much that the faint sound of a once happy ringtone brings nothing but despair, as the sinister calls will never stop. It's getting hard. It's getting hard to keep yourself entertained, and even seeing the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota, along with visiting an Amish paradise, sounds good because it gets you out of the house after staying inside for so long. Getting addicted to spuds and other junk food, as the virus alert hasn't vanished due to the tacky arrogance of people said who think they don't need a vaccine, only to preserve the pandemic. My issue with life is that I lose too many friends, and I always ask, why does this always happen to me after trying to keep in contact, especially with my writing? And since you've been gone, there are fewer colors in my life, and I'm sad to say that my friends didn't even say happy birthday in any form. Said, but that would mean that they made the effort to know more about me. And said, and this is the life I've gotten a little too accustomed to. But sometimes I'd rather be living with a hernia instead of having my false friends. I know I'm not perfect, but do I creep you out in some way that has driven a wedge between us so a chance encounter is all but impossible, and you make me feel very small in the lack of communication despite having plenty of time for a brief message? And I can understand the night Santa went crazy as he put in all the and said the effort for minimal rewards, and said with the compassion and respect becoming inactive in the life of once proud midnight star who lived to bring the light to so many fragile souls once a year. Sometimes there's no pleasing people, and you can't buy a miracle solution on eBay to handle life's odd jobs, like going to the hardware store to buy nails for the other side of the house, or struggling to write an ode to a superhero no one cares for due to some odd controversy brought on by the evil war crimes of the author, who may have fallen into darkness because they put their trust in a person worse than Yoda and not seeing the dreary future from inaction, and there may not be sufficient alternate treatments, like getting insulin for a pancreas that was unable to keep up with demands. Writing such poems may be a lame claim to fame, but it gives me a chance to reach out to those said with a conversation starter. Yet I feel like I made a wrong turn to Albuquerque, only receiving silence if even if I created something dark. Someone has something, always has something to see if I was only kidding about some dark parts. But I can tell you, you don't love me anymore. So my writing has become true in every line. People say you can't have your cake and eat it too, but I've still had a chance to say my piece. So with a new poem from all the works from a white nerdy guy who can always brighten my darkest days. So I humbly thank you for amazing music, Alfred Yankovic. Yeah, I know that was a bit darker, and some words you probably didn't expect to hear, like the word pancreas. As the people are saying, did he really just say that? And yes, I did. Because Pancreas is actually a pretty important organ, because without it, your blood sugar will spike and eventually you'll drop dead. So you kind of have to need artificial methods. One line I actually thought was pretty hilarious. I actually used was the comment about getting nails for the other side of the house at the hardware store. I actually knew a guy that was part of something called the Liars Bench, and they always would talk about telling wild stories such as these are only nails for the left side of the house. I need the right side, so you got to go to the hardware store, get them, and then you try to find them. You can't do it. Said, oh, okay, guess they're probably out. But what I really need is a board stretcher because this board is 3 feet long. I need 3.5 feet long. You have to try to do it, and it just was meant to torment people of a younger generation. Um, so it was just kind of nice, actually, kind of a nice little throwback to that. So I hope everyone likes it and said likes this poem, and especially if Mr. Yankovic, you're out there and said you're an amazing person. Loved your movie. I said loved your movies and helped your good works from you in the future. As for me, I have no clue what I might actually have an idea for writing. I might actually have something I wrote at the start of the pandemic. I actually got a bit more. I said not exactly. I said more praise. And I thought it just. I said like what from not being there was just actually the person who actually liked it the most actually kind of confessed it was one of their favorite bands from back in the day. So if I get a couple pretty good likes, you'll actually see someone. Uh, you actually get to hear kind of something for that. Um, Maybe at some point I'll even actually decide to release my most controversial poem, and the only reason why it's controversial is just the fact that the subject matter is a little bit on the bleak side, and but more of the controversy is the fact that everyone else who actually knows me loves it, and they're thinking you chose a very interesting way to kind of get this angst out. So if I can get maybe about even like 50 likes from people, I'll see what I can do about actually having, because all I have to do is just kind of pull it out of storage and then let everyone listen. So if I don't say upload anything, hope everyone has a happy holidays. Don't know what everyone celebrates, so enjoy everything you have. And at least I can say one thing about this holiday season: I radished an icon. Thank you very much.